Welcome, everybody, to Master Life Podcast. Introducing my next guest over here. $1 billion in career real estate sales in the farming industry for over 50 years, innovator and industry leader, and in the community as well, the president of Farms in BC Real Estate Group, NAV SEKHON.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, brother. Thanks for coming by today, man. I appreciate you.
No, I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Nav, you've been in the farming community and real estate industry for a number of years now. And my first question typically is what makes somebody go into the industry? So why did you choose agricultural real estate specifically?
So in 2007, when I got my real estate license, like every other realtor, you try everything that you can do to make money.
Yeah.
So I tried residential, tried commercial, tried assignments and flips. But I've got a farming background. Family's been farming since late 70s. Born in 85, grew up on a farm. It's been kind of in our background since I was a kid. Yeah. So when I got into real estate, I tried all the other stuff, and then I did my first farm deal in 2008, 2009, and I really enjoyed it. So,
hey, sorry to interrupt you. You enjoyed the deal. What part did you enjoy about it?
The type of people that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
They're not. They're very laid back. They're very down to earth. They're not as flamboyant. They're very casual people.
Yeah.
So my first deal that I did, I had a pickup truck and I was wearing a suit.
How did that go?
The deal got done.
But
the other realtor that I did it owned a real estate company that was strictly for farms. The company name was BC Farm and Ranch.
Yeah.
And so when I did the deal with them, I was like, man, I like your guys' brokerage. I like what's going on. There's no one that's representing as like a exclusive farm realtor from Langley towards Delta. So then we did the deal. Then I approached him after. I said, hey, can I join your brokerage? And I saw all the other agents. They were jeans, dress shirts, sweaters, just very casual, all had pickup trucks. And I'm like, man, this is something I want to do. And I already knew farming. I already had a lot of good roots in agriculture. I knew the people. It was easier for me. Obviously, my dad was he was a realtor in the early 90s, which also had a large contact base in the farming industry.
Absolutely.
Plus, we were farmers. So definitely it was a natural fit. So I leveraged all my dad's contacts. I've leveraged all the industry contacts that I grew up into that business with, and it was a natural fit.
Absolutely.
And I actually enjoyed the product, and I understood the product.
You know what, that leads me to my next question. I know you kind of already touched upon this right now. So did your heritage play a role in your decision in specializing in farms specifically? And what I'm talking about is, since our families, back in India, we're by trade farmers.
That's right.
So did that play a role with you internally, spiritually, or mentally, saying that I want to get into farming?
Not really.
Okay.
I think what really drove me towards this sector was me just growing up on a farm here, and knowing the fact that, hey, like, I feel comfortable in this space. And you'll see, like, when you deal with developers, it's a different environment, and they're different personalities, different characteristics. My personality, I've realized, fit much better with the farmer category.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. And it's just, I felt like it was easier to deal with. And they're a lot more straightforward. And I think when I started working with people in that industry, I felt it was almost like second nature. So for me, it was more my, rather than my heritage, it was me growing up as a farmer's son into that business, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just, like you said, it came second nature to you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. All right, so I want to move on to your personal journey here. You know, you've been in the industry for a while. You've seen a lot of ups and downs. We're seeing a different market right now. Yeah. Can you name a pivotal moment in your experience that significantly changed how you operate your business? Was there either a financial issue or a financial crisis, a personal matter, something that you feel like, hey, you know what, this is what changed me from being a level of a ALR realtor here, and it got me to this level, something like that?
So what really changed my mindset when I got into real estate is in 2010, when I joined the BC Farm and Ranch, the company, I realized that, hey, like, well, let's go back. 2007, I got my license. So I was grinding through that 2008, 2009, 2010. And at that time, my dad, we did a lot of bad investments.
Okay.
And we were losing a lot of money. And we were on a very, very tight situation at that time. And in 2010, when I got with this company, I realized, okay, like I have to scale this where it can grow big. And even when I joined the company, I always visualized that, hey, I don't want to just be a realtor.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be an owner of something. So when I was with BC Farm and Ranch, I was growing my own brand, which was Farms in BC Real Estate Group, right? So I was continuing to grow that. And for me, it's just, I've always had it at the back of my mind. I don't want to go back to 2008. I don't want to put my family in that. I wanted to help my family get out of that mess, which me and my brother did pretty much from 2010, 2015. All the commission that myself and my brother made went back equally to the family, just to pay bills and get out of that rut. And then from 2015 onwards, it's been good.
How did that change you as a person? Because I mean,
there's a big responsibility.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
like 2000, I pretty much got married at around the same time. It was 2010.
Yeah. And
at that time, finances were tough. Like we barely did my wedding. And you know, Indian weddings, you got to put the whole show on, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So at that time, we were very, very tight.
Yeah.
Tight to the point where my mom had to sell her land in India to pay for my wedding.
Wow. And then you just put it together, eh?
Well, since then, and then after I got married, I realized, like, man, I got to get my shit together.
Yeah.
And I got to help my dad get out of this mess.
Yeah.
And then, so what happened is I joined the company. We took off, and all the commission I made, I gave my dad 50%, just so he can pay the bills, just do whatever, just float on the other end. Then around 2013, 2014, the business started taking off even further. And then I told my brother, I go, hey, like, you going to go to school or do you want to come do this?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, if you come on to this side of things, we'll be able to build this little family entity.
Yeah.
You can help dad at the farm in the summertime, so I don't have to go there and I can focus on real estate. And then you can help me on real estate when it's not aggressively farm season.
Yeah.
And that's been going well ever since. So Taj's role is to, like, he manages a lot of the back end stuff.
Right.
He helps on the farm. He runs that whole show. He runs all the stuff on the back end. And I focus 100% on real estate, and he helps on real estate.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was tough to bring him in and tell my dad that he's not going to go to college. Like, he's dropping out.
But you know what? You can imagine the belief your family had in you at that time.
They didn't.
They didn't.
It was tough. Like I remember when I got my first office.
Yeah.
I was in my first year. I think my first year, I think we made I think it was about like $400,000. And I'm like, okay, man, I need an office.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, I went and leased an office without telling him. It was 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, why do you need an office this big? Me and your uncle was doing real estate for 20 years, and we had this little cube. And I'm like, well, I want to open my own office. So we have to, I want to be able to fill this office eventually. And it took 10 years, but we filled it. Yeah. Right. But at first they were very like, is this going to work? Like, you're going so much and you're spending all this money on staff and yeah, we failed. Yeah. Like, you hire staff, you don't realize, and you find the pieces of the puzzle of a business. Yeah. Does this staff member actually need to be here? I remember at one point we had like 4 or 5 assistants and it was just pointless, but I was going through a learning curve.
Are you glad you did that though?
For sure.
Right.
Now I'm at a point where I've dialed it in to the point where I know what my end goal is. Right. Of how much staff I need, how many agents I want to be able to have, how I can have my agents become partners with me in farms in BC rather than just being agents. My staff having a good salary enough that they can feed their families. Yeah. So I take that personally.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point you made there, because I think as entrepreneurs and realtors or any business owners, I think a lot of people will be afraid to make those steps to say, okay, I'm going to go on a leap of faith and get an office, or I'm going to invest in this, because they're like, well, what if it doesn't work? Yeah. But you've done all the things that don't work to make things work.
Oh yeah. There was times where there was lots of times where I did not pay myself. Yeah. And I had to pay staff. And I just made sure that those checks were there. My lease payments were there. My advertising, like if you look at my advertisements from 2010 to now, I never slowed down. If anything, in 2001, or sorry, after 2002, after March, when everything started decreasing,
absolutely,
we saw a lot of agents stop marketing. They just shut, and you saw all the bus benches empty.
Yeah.
All the bus benches were all available.
Yes.
We doubled up on marketing because we knew that on a downturn, most agents are going to stop.
You mentioned this 2 years ago to me.
Yeah.
When we did the podcast.
Yeah.
You're like, this is the market to be advertising.
Yeah. So what we did is we doubled up. We doubled all our marketing budget, and we're getting the rewards now. Like it's paying off now.
Absolutely.
But I've seen enough of these markets to realize that, especially when there was a market was really good. Yeah. Myself and my brother are very conservative. We don't overspend. We don't do a lot of that flash. We don't have fancy cars or Rolexes or whatever.
Yeah.
But what we did is we thought about our farm, because we don't want to go back to that. It's always in the back of your mind. You don't want to go back to that 2008 mark, right? So what we did is we saved all our commission, all the money that we made in 2021. 2021, 2022, we had fun with it, but we just didn't splurge on dumb stuff, right? And when it came down to 2023, all of 2023 and 2024, we had the buffers already built in. So when everybody else was scrambling to not have a budget for ramping things up, we had nothing to worry about. We didn't care what the market did at that point.
Absolutely. And that took experience.
That was experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually a lot of control.
Yeah.
Because when you do, a lot of agents did really well in 2021, 2022. And it's very easy to go and get the nice, shiny object. And trust me, there's times where I was tempted.
Yeah, those times are tempting, right? Yeah. There's you and I had an offline conversation about cars. And I remember you were saying that, hey man, why don't you buy, you were saying a Ferrari or something, right? Yeah. You're like, I want to buy it. Maybe I'll buy it at a later date. And, that really gave me more of an insight to who you are. Of course, we know you're doing well. But I mean, for you to have that restraint to not do it now until for it's a certain goal.
The way I look at it is like, okay, so the main thing is are you in the under the roof that you visualized as your dream home?
Yeah.
So why am I going to go spend $500,000 on a car if I'm not in my dream home? Why am I going to go spend $50,000 on a Rolex when I don't have my dream home? So or my right investments in place. I don't have all this other stuff in place, but I need to go buy this stuff to show off to everybody. So when I go, and I told you this, I go, there's going to be a point in time, and I'm very close to that. Once it's all settled and set, then I will splurge. But until I'm not content with my investments, content with the roof over my head, there's no point.
The message here is, take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Right. And then before you can do all
your
that,
family first.
Your family first, right? Yeah. Before you can do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's very honorable. All right, we'll move on to the next question or next topic here. You and I are pretty big proponents of self-development. And right. I've been doing a little bit more of that in the last later years. You've been doing this for a considerable period of time. How much has that impacted not only your business, but your personal life?
Business, personal life, and I think the biggest thing is my mental health. And I think what happens is like in the beginning when I started real estate, I was only thinking about making money. My health wasn't good. My drinking wasn't good. My eating wasn't good. I had no discipline on anything else except in my business. And then as time progressed, I started focusing more on my health. I dropped a lot of weight. And obviously, I've been a big boy my whole life. So you go through your roller coasters, your yo-yos. But then you still keep on track, right? Yeah. But the biggest thing was end of 2022. It was out of nowhere, just me and my wife. We were going to New York, had an awesome time. We had another couple of friends there. We met up with them, had a wicked time. And on the way back, I just told her, I go like, you know what? I'm done drinking. I don't want to do it anymore. And then she's like, oh yeah, whatever, you're just saying it, right? And then 2 months go by, 3 months go by, 4 months go by. I go on a guy's trip to Mexico, didn't drink.
On a guy's trip too?
On a guy's trip too. Right, and that's, for me, it was like, okay, this is my true test, right? Yeah. And since then, it's been more than a year and a bit, still haven't drank, don't care for it, but I've noticed my focus, my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my wife, my discipline for my work. I don't miss a beat, like, at all.
Sharp.
It's sharp. You're always on. Yeah. For me to relax is like, I don't mind just hanging out with my wife and kids.
Absolutely.
If someone wants a relationship with me, call me. Let's go for lunch. Let's go hook up.
Yeah.
Right. And I know the way I ethically do my business. I do it professionally. I give it my all. And whoever wants to work with me will call me. And whoever doesn't want to work with me, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, I think I can share a little bit of that with myself as well, like coming up on a year of no drinking as well. I mean, the mental clarity you have is like astounding.
Yeah.
Right. The better sleep.
Yeah.
Honestly, I work out less now and I'm getting in better shape.
Yeah.
Which is funny, right?
Yeah.
And the time with your family, you're not spending time. You know, we talked about this before. Oh, I was home yesterday. I was hungover watching TV, and my son wanted to play. And I was with him all day.
Yeah.
Are you really with him?
No.
Now you're actually with the kids. You're doing things, right? Being more active. So I think there's so many beautiful things about it. We'll talk about that more, and I'll looking forward to talking about that. But yeah, that's amazing now that you're doing that for yourself and for your family, right?
Yeah.
What are some tools and strategies that you apply on a daily basis to keep you mentally sharp? Of course, we know the drinking, but like, I mean, what do you do on a daily basis?
I'm very organized. Like, I've got a system for everything.
You're a systems guy.
Like, dude, my systems are dialed in.
Yeah.
From my calendar to my email to my task management to my staff, for my staff communication, to my, like, just everything is just organized and dialed in. I feel like I'm a mess when I don't finish my daily tasks. So if I schedule something, I will not leave the office until it's done. I will not leave my emails until it's done. I will not call back people until, if I had a missed call, I'll call you back. I don't like taking the task of that day on to the next day. And I've noticed, like, every time I walk into the office, I go to my office very early. I wake up at 3:30. I'm at the gym at like 4:30, get my cardio in, do a training. I spend time morning with my kids. And I'm usually at the office by like 7:30. And I'm there right now a little bit later. I am building my house that I really wanted. And I've built my own private office, which is my like Zen area. My goal is to be home more on time, have more dinners with the family, but not jeopardize what I'm trying to build on my business.
Absolutely.
Which is balance is probably one of the hardest things of growing a business, having a relationship with your wife and kids. But I'm trying to, as my business grows and as my agents are getting more and more comfortable and successful, I want to be able to I want to be home at a reasonable time. I want to go to the office a little bit later. But I don't want it to do that at the cost of not growing.
Yes.
Like, it's a very hard balance, because I've seen a lot of realtors or team leaders, what they do is they rely 100% on the staff and everybody else, and then they, quote unquote, just take the back seat. I don't want to do that.
You want to be involved.
I want to be completely involved. And not only that, I want to grow. I want to see my agents grow. I want to see them grow. I want them to build beyond of a career with me. I don't want them to be your average, making minimum. I want them to be ultra successful with me.
That's beautiful, man. They say there's a boss and there's a leader. A leader gets in, gets dirty with you, and gets you going, right? Yeah. So that's beautiful.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, they know.
They can call me,
ready to go do it, right?
They can call me anytime, and I'll pick up my phone.
Could you share a time? I guess we already talked about this, how you got over a lot of challenging things, but I wanted to share something with you. I'm going to share a quote with you right now.
Yeah.
And let me know if you can relate to this, and please share how.
Okay.
When you start to improve yourself, loneliness is the price you pay.
Yes.
Let's elaborate about that. Have you ever been to a past that you were lonely time?
Oh, many times, bro.
Yeah.
When in 2010, when I had to cut all my friends off and I had to realize, like, okay, my family is my priority. I had to make sure that I had to get out of this mess. I think for a good 3 to 4 years, I felt like I was alone, because I literally only did everything at the office. And what happens is when you are in an environment where people don't align with your vision, your goals, or your strengths, and someone that gives you that same energy to excel, it's hard to make friends.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were doing, sorry to interrupt you, did you feel like you were on the right path? Because I'll share a little bit about myself. I remember being on a lonely path, because it's such a you're by yourself, you feel like you might be doing the wrong thing. Did you feel that way as well?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah. Or there's even times now where, I've been through so many of those phases that now even I have a lot more belief that I know I'm doing the right thing. I just have to be patient. But those lonely times actually builds a certain character of an individual. And I've realized that I was always a people pleaser when I was younger. And I've always wanted to make everybody around me happy. I would have done anything for people, even at the cost of my family, my health, and everything. When you go through these lonely times and you're building something, people also change as you become more successful. In the beginning, you're nothing. And then as your business grows, you get this reputation, you get this status, and then people change, right? You're still the same person, but that lonely phase, you don't realize it, but until you start going out again. And that's what happened to me was 4 or 5 years, I just exited from everybody. And all I did, and it was a point in time where I literally, it took a toll on my relationship with my wife too, and my parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was never around.
Just so
I
busy.
literally was, right now I go to the office at 7:30. I used to be at the office at 6. I used to be at the office at 6 and I would not be home sometimes between 10 and 11.
Wow.
I just would not leave until the work was done. And if there was more work, I would just do it.
And that's a drive that got you out of, the challenging time.
Yeah.
The lonely road, being by yourself like a lone warrior, or like, I have a tiger up there, like a king of the mountain. That's awesome.
But even then it was, I was blessed at that time that my dad believed in me and the vision, and supported me a lot. My brother believed in me and the vision, and he supported me a lot. On the business side, like without them two, we wouldn't be where we are today. Yeah, in our financial goals, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned this a few times now. Your dad's made a big sacrifice for the business in the beginning, and then you took it to another level with your brother. So I think it's a beautiful thing that your family did it together.
That's right.
Yeah. Next section was, all right, let's talk a little bit about giving people advice in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who's having a challenging time in entrepreneurship right now, either building a network, somebody new to the industry? Let's just talk about somebody that's like 21 years old.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to figure out their life.
Yeah.
What would you tell them if they're trying to get into business or entrepreneurship, what they should work on?
Like specifically like real estate or mortgages?
Real estate or a small business, whatever that may be.
You know what it is? I think a lot of them, it's just, as you know, and I think any entrepreneur listening to this, it's complete discipline.
Yeah.
And it's really choosing how you spend your 8 to 12 hours in a day. You have the option to spend those 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours when you're working. You can either sit there and go for lunches and go kill 2-3 hours. You can decide to scroll on your phone. You can decide to just surf the net and pretend like you're working, but it's the discipline to get organized and create a business plan and execute that plan. A lot of people want to be successful, but they don't want to put the work in.
Yeah.
And I actually have a lot of young realtors that come see me every couple months. And that's what I tell them. Like, you're going to do any entrepreneurship, there is no check in 2 weeks.
No, nothing.
There is no guaranteed certain salary. There's a dream to make an X amount because you saw somebody else make it. But to get to that level, you have to sacrifice everything, especially for the first 5-6 years. Like, you have to sacrifice everything to get something. And you will get it if you actually put in the work. And a lot of these people don't just put in the work, and that's why it's that 90-10 rule.
Yeah.
10% of the people do 90% of the business. Why? Because 10% are the only people that put in the sacrifice.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to put in the sacrifice, but they want to put the show on.
Yeah.
That, hey, I am something, I do something, but behind closed doors, they don't do anything.
Totally.
They're shouting it, but their performance will never show it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they say that success and sacrifice are directly correlated, right?
Yeah.
The more you sacrifice, the more successful you'll be. And a lot of times you're sacrificing family time, this and that. And we'll touch upon that moving forward too.
Yeah.
Is there a certain trait or a quality one must possess outside of everything else to be successful in business? A specific trait.
A specific trait is most people can read bullshit. So if you're going to be in business, you got to be genuine. And
for long term.
If you want to be in business for long term, you have to be genuine.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is, people put on a fake persona, might last a year, might last 2 years, but eventually your reputation will hold itself and the word will get out of what type of character and personality you are. If you want a long-lasting business, you have to be the front runner. You have to always be on. You have to have an amazing reputation. You have to be that person. Mm-hmm. You have to, whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. Mm-hmm. You're not the person that talks a lot of shit and then doesn't do it. You're the person that says you're going to do it and then executes. Now, it may not turn out the way you want, but you made your best efforts.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's what identifies the difference.
Right. So, you know what, like you say, don't be real. Oh, sorry, don't be fake, just be real.
Just be real. And you know what? You're going to piss a lot of people off by being real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We talk about that too.
We do it all the time. I get people like, you tell them the truth, they don't want to hear the truth, and you may lose a listing. You may lose an offer. But the back of my mind is I'm trying not to get you in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
There's times where I've told people not to buy a farm.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's going to be too much.
No, it's not too much. You can't do what you want to do on this property because the zoning doesn't allow it. Most people are not educated on that. There's a lot of time. Like I think even on a weekly, I'll probably reject 4 or 5 buyers because I'll say, you can't do this on the farm.
And they just eagerly want it.
It's not even eager. They don't know any better.
Yeah, right.
I know if there's a lot of other agents that would just try to sell them something to make a commission.
Yeah.
I don't do that. What I've realized over the 10, 15 years since I've been doing that, it's paid off because of my reputation. Someone saying to somebody, he told me not to buy a farm, and all he does is sell farms. Versus him trying to shove a farm down my throat to make a quick buck. It's that reputation, right? Same thing with sellers. I don't go to sellers and lie to them and say, oh, today's the best time to list your property. No, I go to them and I figure out what their goals are, seeing what their holding power is, seeing what they're going to do with the funds when they sell, set them up on their tax plan, and then decide when the best time to sell. There's been times where I've given them advice and I didn't get the listing. And some other realtor came in and said something, got the listing, and it sold. But for me, I genuinely didn't think it was the right thing to do because I know they could have got more if they just waited.
Right.
Or they didn't do their tax planning, and I don't know how it turned out after, but that was my opinion, and I've lost listings because of that.
But you're okay with that because you can sleep better at night.
Care.
You can sleep better at night. At the end of the day, I mean, once you're doing business in an ethical manner, and you're having integrity, there's a level of peace you have when you're driving home and not thinking about things.
People spend their whole lives saving like 20, 30 years of investing, savings. They're trusting you and hiring you to make a decision for them and to advise them.
Yep.
Either on the selling side to maximize their investment, or the buying side, when is the right time to buy? Or is this even the right product to buy? Am I going to be successful even after I buy it? Mm-hmm. There's times where I've told realtors, hey, your client should not be buying this. And I'm not representing the buyer.
Wow.
Because, dude, they're going to fail.
Yeah.
They're going to fail. And
wow.
But it comes to, I believe my reputation is worth more than a dollar figure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, that's why you've been in the industry for so long and your business is growing as it is, right? And as it should be. Move on to, are there any prominent figures, authors, maybe some business moguls or significant people in the world that you've kind of leaned on or not looked for advice that you've found that you can apply to your business?
I've studied a lot of successful people when it's either in the business world, just like from your top CEOs, or professional sports players. Like mine is I enjoy watching basketball. So Kobe Bryant, Magic Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Yeah. That's okay. They both go. He's magic too, right?
What I do is like even rappers, or just like how they built their careers, like a pop artist, or some CEOs. And what I do is I I don't really have like any mentors per se, but I've watched like how disciplined they were, what they did, what risks they took, how they achieved. And I still do that till this day. My half an hour cardio session, I don't sit there listening to music. I'll sit there and I'll find a documentary or I'll scroll on a specific topic.
Yeah, you shared with me, and I was funny enough. It's funny when you start getting more confidence, you start sharing what you really do in life.
Yeah,
you shared with me in the past that you drive to the gym and you put on a motivational video.
Oh, right in the morning.
I do that too.
Yeah.
If I don't do that,
it's hard to get.
My day's different. My day's different. Yeah. When I wake up in the morning and if I hit the play on the motivational video on the way to the gym, it's dialed in.
Yeah.
Dialed in. It's just, it's amazing, right? So when you shared that with me, I was keeping that inside. I'm like, am I weird for doing this? But it's amazing that you're doing that too,
It's something to, like, again, I'm not the one that dives into a lot of books and like, I just watch people and I see that they're successful and I want to know what they did right to become successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Reading people, right?
Yeah.
Once again, right? All right, before I ask the next question, I'm going to play a short video.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit about that.
You can't be the best at something and try to balance everything else around your life. There's going to be times where things are going to be out of balance. It just is. The most driven individuals, they live a life for many years without balance. You can't be the best at something and try to balance everything else around.
That question, now I'm going to frame it. How do you balance family, social, and personal time in your business? Not now. Not now where you're at the beginning. When your kids were born.
I can't even, it's hard to do it now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, as your business grows, again, like it goes back to how you choose to spend your 8 to 12 hours that you're awake.
Yeah.
So I don't care to party. I don't care to go out as much. I don't care for the networking events. For me, my gym, my health is priority number one. My business is my business and family are number two.
Yeah.
And honestly, those are the three things I only focus on now. Mm-hmm. Before I used to try fitting in, I got to go to this networking event to put my name out there. I have to go to this event. I got to go to this birthday party. I used to go out. I want to go hang out with them because I want to drink. Honestly, once my clarity of like what type of person I want to be, I don't want to have any regrets at the end.
Yeah.
You get to a life where you get to a certain age and you're like, man, I wish I didn't do this. I wish I did more of this. And especially here in the last like 4 years, 5 years, I've been really analyzing what I really like and what's important to me. Mm-hmm. And honestly, man, pleasing other people is like the last thing I care about. I don't care what people think of me. For me, it's like I care about my time with people that I truly care about. And my true friends are people that if I don't see them for 6 months, we pick up like nothing happened. Yeah. And those people are always going to be your true friends. You don't have to go see them every weekend. Mm-hmm. So I've chosen to spend more quality time with my staff, growing them, with my health, and then with my wife and kids. Man, you're never going to get this time back with your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sacrifice the balance. There's no such thing as balance when you're growing your business.
Totally,
it's almost impossible because when your business is growing. Yeah, I highly recommend people put their health as a priority, which I didn't for 10 years. Like my health was not a priority at all, which I think was a very big mistake. I've made that and my business, and I'm still trying to work on spending more time with my wife and kids. I still don't feel like I'm balanced.
Right.
Because bulk of my days in my office are working on my business, and that's not Monday to Friday.
You're on your weekends. I'm talking on the weekend.
I'm always at the office, right?
But it's part of a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, but you have to be passionate. Yes. My wife and kids know that this is my dream. They also know this is my passion, to grow this business. They also understand why I do it. Mm-hmm. So it's always like, I always tell my kids like, hey, like, dad has 3 responsibilities only for you kids, is to make sure the roof over your head, you have a roof over your head, you have clothes on your back and food on the table. Mm-hmm. Now, harder I work, those 3 items will just be nicer. Mm-hmm. A bigger house, better food, and better clothes. And I want to provide that for my family. And I want to go on nicer vacations. And those are more meaningful to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
The more the quality time with their family.
But I explained that to my kids, and I've explained that as a very young age.
You know what? Well, let's touch up on that. I mean, anybody that's, maybe that doesn't have kids yet or are planning to, and one of the members of a husband or wife or whatever you want to call it are deciding to go on, start a business.
Yeah.
The other person, do you feel like they should be ready, prepared for these type of the sacrifices have to be made on both ends?
I could tell you right now, if you don't have your significant other backing you 100%, this would never work.
You'd fail.
You cannot have a family without their support.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know for a fact that I would, my family would have been in disarray if it wasn't for my wife. I don't think a lot of quote unquote housewives get a lot of credit, especially in this world. Like all women want to be top business women of the year. Man, to run a household, like a full household and kids, like my wife's schedule is very, very stringent.
Intense.
Like, and then educating these kids. And if my wife wasn't who she is and her personality and like how loving and caring she is as a mother, there's no way I could reach my goals or my dreams.
Well, totally, bro. I think,
she sacrificed her dreams to do so I can do mine.
Yeah.
And that's the sacrifice.
That's the sacrifice right there.
Well, it's funny enough, like in 2010 on our honeymoon on our way back, like we were broke. Mm-hmm. Family was like financially in a mess. It was bad to the point, Sunny, where I actually used 70 grand of her line of credit before we got married, and I lost it all in bad investments.
Right.
And
in 2010.
And this is 2020.
Can you think about how much?
No, this is
20 then was 70 grand back then was a lot of money. It's a lot of money now.
Hold on, and then on top of that, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but this is the type of woman I've got. She paid for her own engagement ring.
Wow.
At that time.
Wow.
And I was like, and then we got married. And then from our honeymoon on the way home, she goes to me, she's like, and at that time she was working 3 jobs and my real estate was not taken off. And if I felt like that time in my life where everything I touched, like you go through a phase in life where like, oh, everything I touch, it fails. And I was like mentally in that space. And then we on our honeymoon on the flight back, which obviously she paid for the honeymoon as well.
Yeah.
I actually wrote a contract with her and I still have that piece of paper.
Really?
Swear to God. And that piece of paper this was in May when we went on our honeymoon. Sorry, June. I got married in May. That if I don't make my first sale by September, that I have to go back to school. And I didn't want to go back to school. I wanted to go back to school, right?
No way.
And then I'm like, okay, then at that time was like, I just started focusing on trying to make that one sale. And I remember my first commission deal. My commission should have been 40 grand. I still remember the property. I still kept the contract.
You kept the contract.
And I remember this. My commission should have been 40 grand. I have a wife's line of credit at 70 grand.
Yep.
And I'm like, awesome, I'm going to be able to pay half of it. When it came to do the deal, the seller's like, I'll do the deal, but I'm only paying you 15 grand.
I always cut your commission down.
Yeah, but man, at that time, 15 grand was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was a shitload of money for me. And I'm like, let's do it. But then I came home and I'm like, babe, I'm paying off 15 grand of your line of credit. Right?
Yeah.
And
you get the 55 later, right?
No, but then it started picking up.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And then my wife, she had 3 jobs. I told her then she started quitting her jobs as we started having kids. We made an agreement. I said, hey, look, I'm going to go out and make the money. I need you to hold the fort down.
Absolutely.
And I need you to hold that fort down aggressively. And she has, man.
Yeah.
Like it's tough. We don't give enough credit to a lot of women that make that sacrifice because they're literally taking their life, putting it on hold for their husbands to go chase their dreams.
Literally, that's what they're doing. And they're making the home, right?
Yeah.
They're making the home, keeping it together.
Yeah.
And I think we need to definitely praise women that do that because it's a hard job. I have one kid and you have two children.
2 kids, yeah.
But they also have activities like you said. And I mean, at the same time, we got to talk about this too. Like, we deal with our own stresses.
Yeah.
I lean on my wife sometimes, talk about some things, this and that. And you know what? The biggest believer I have in my life is my wife.
Yeah.
And you could probably...
Oh, she backed me. Yeah. Like, she believed in me and the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised.
More than you believed in yourself, probably.
I was surprised she even stuck around. Like, the amount of hell that I put her through that time, man, she believed in me.
Yeah. That's
and she's just like, don't worry, you go do your thing. Go do your thing. She believed in me every time. Even now, like, I always tell her, like, oh, you know, I got this goal. I want to do this. I want to build this. I want to do this. She's always like, yeah, you'll do it. And I'm sitting there doubting, like, still saying it, but doubting myself 100 times.
But she believes in you.
But she'll be like, yeah, I know you're going to do it.
How's that make you feel?
Oh, dude, you have like your number one fan.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's all in your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why you probably, it makes you not care what other people think.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, my close friends know, I couldn't care what anybody thinks of me.
Yeah.
Like, my close friends know that. Like, I couldn't care less.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't faze me at all.
Like, let's go, right? And you're ready to help all your clients, make sure they're happy.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. Awesome. Okay. Your career highlight, not your career highlight. What has been your career or lifetime highlight? The thing that you've been the most proud of? It could be anything.
I've got a few, like, every year since I started in 2010. So I started the goal in 2011. I do a lot of weird, so I believe in manifestation.
Absolutely.
Like crazy, okay? So every year in January, I did the Jim Carrey thing where I wrote myself a personal check. Have you ever heard of what he did?
$10 million check he wrote to himself.
He wrote to himself. He got it in 10 years, right? So I heard about that in like 2010, 11. So every January 1st, I would write myself a check. And then I would date it December 31st. And then I put the year. And then I put the amount that I want. I never used to reach it. I was always off. But then at the same time, every year, even though I didn't reach it, I would still level it up. I'd still level it up. But my thing was still growing, but I never hit the target.
Right.
And then obviously 2021, I like blew it out of the, like it was a big number. And
7 figures?
Yeah, easy. 7 figures.
Yeah. Multi-7 figures. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was just like, man, I'm like, if I hit this year, whatever, right? And then I hit it and I hit it well over. And that was a big, big achievement. So big that I wanted to go buy myself a watch, but I still did.
Still didn't buy that watch.
I was like,
okay, still. Wow, look at them straight though.
But I know it got to a point where even my wife's like, "Hey man, like you did good this year. Go buy yourself." Oh my God, don't worry, we'll get it later, right?
Yeah.
But that was one big achievement for myself. Stepping away from another business achievement for myself is taking the risk to leaving my old brokerage to start my own team and. That was a big fear and like in my mind. I've always thought people went to me because of the brokerage. I've realized people came to me because of me. And I think an experienced real estate agent will eventually realize that over time. It's never the brokerage. It's actually the individuals that they're hiring.
You are the brand.
You are the brand. So I realized, so that was a big leap of faith that I had to do that. And I think for myself was drinking. And getting the self-discipline to go after everything that I want in life. So in 2022 is I just cut all the distractions out of my life. When I mean all distractions, I mean anything that's fake, I just don't do it. I just don't go put on a show. I don't care for any of that. It's just not, it doesn't mean anything to me anymore. If I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there because I want to be there and I have love for you and I want to show up because I'm there for you. I'm not there to put on a show that I'm here because you invited me. Yeah. I'm there because I want to be there. That alone helped me visualize what's important to me, what do I want in life, and I'm just going to do so once I got into that mindset, my mind just got so clear. Wow. I was like, I really know what I want in life and I'm just going to go after that. All the other stuff, it's all noise. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. And then obviously, just for my kids wise and like my family, me taking the risk to build my dream house now, it's something that I've wanted for a very long time. And for me to do it before I'm 40 is like, for me, it's probably one of my biggest accomplishments for my family.
it's an amazing achievement. Amazing achievement to do it at this age, to do what you're doing. That's
that for me, I really don't care for the house as much. But having this for my achievement, for my family to build memories in for the next, say, 25, 30 years is going to mean the world to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's beautiful, bro. I think we're at the next, we're at the closing part here.
Yeah.
Any upcoming events or ventures or something that people should be looking out for, or what you're excited about? Either the farms in BC, of course, we got the house.
Yep.
Anything else people should be excited about, or you're excited about?
I think for us, what we're trying to do is on the farms in BC side, we're just trying to grow slowly now, not fast, but providing exceptional service is our goal on that side of things. And for us, is just growing gradually. There's not, I'm very clear what I want with farms in BC, and I'm okay if it takes another 10 years. I don't need to have it happen in a year, right? You and I, you're doing phenomenal with this podcast. You and I have talked a lot personally about like, okay, what is this? Why are we doing this? What is this going to do? Are we doing it for the clout, or are we doing it for a reason? And you and I are doing this because we have a voice.
Absolutely.
And we want to be able to express ourselves to the public. So I focus my podcast 100% on farms.
That's right.
Because I want to educate people on farms. I really don't care if you buy or sell through me. That's your choice.
Yeah.
But my goal is to get you the proper information to make a informed decision.
Yeah.
So that's something big I want to grow. You know what? I'm actually I haven't seen this. I've never said this out loud. I'm actually really content right now.
That's
like, I still want to grow my investment portfolio. I really want to grow but I'm content if it doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely. It's not a race now, right? It's basically a slow marathon for you, right? Like,
I think I've sacrificed enough where I've set my foundation correctly.
Yeah.
And I still want to grow it, but I'm okay. I'm okay at the point where I don't need to have an X amount of dollar figure at the end, or I'm not chasing that dollar anymore. For me, it's like I'm chasing more quality of time with people, individuals, and my family. That is like the most important thing to me, and my people that work with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, part of the reason why I'm doing this now is, I want to provide value to people, right?
Oh yeah.
And secondly, I haven't said this, but I'm in a way I'm doing it for my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, these messages that you're saying right now, you've incorporated children into this, and they probably never heard a lot of the stuff that you're talking about.
I talk like this to my children.
Oh, do you? Okay, so
like if you ever interviewed my kids,
yeah,
you like how I'm talking to you is how I talk to them.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You treat them like adults, right?
Yeah,
so that way
sure.
they can understand. Yeah. For me, I'm doing this because at the end of the day, if we're not here, at least this message that we provide, the people we bring on, that they share, at least our children or, other people's children, other people can take value from it.
Yeah.
And I think in our community, especially, either here, Lower Mainland, wherever you want to call it, I think people are really yearning for a message and looking for that type of value. So that's probably what we're doing this
And I like what you're doing is I know your prominent business is mortgages. We touched on the industry a little bit, but bringing in professionals and highlighting their struggles to their current place plus their future goals and adventures. Man, there's somebody that's sitting here listening that's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old and be like, man, or they see our signs or they hear about us, but how did that guy do it?
Yeah.
And just for professionals to come out and tell their story, it is huge. There's so many kids out there that just need guidance.
Kids and even adults.
Or even
adults. Because, let's put it this way. Like, you and I grew up in this community. There could be people 10, 15, 20 years older that might be thinking, I'm down and out.
Yeah.
But
we see it all the time.
We do. And people can make a comeback if they want, as long as they put their head down and follow these strategies that some of these business people applied. So I think that's another reason why, right? The tiger, the logo and everything. Yeah. I was thinking about Sher from Punjabis, right?
Oh, 100%.
But I was reading about the tiger. The tiger, they call it the king. They call the lion the king of the jungle. Yeah. They call the tiger the king of the mountain. Yeah. Right? And it's a solo. Yeah. A lone tiger. And I've been, we've been to the lonely channel by ourselves. Yeah. And I was like, man, sometimes you feel like you gotta be ferocious. Mm-hmm. And when you're starting off a business, you want to be nice to everybody, people pleasing. And I got to the place that I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to be like a lone wolf or a tiger, just by myself and just go. And I think that lonely part or that journey really got me to think more in depth about that. And that's what I thought. I want to do a tiger, put a tiger up in my office. I'm like, everything's going to be tiger.
Whatever motivates you, right?
Yeah, it motivates me. And then I thought about master, like just, you want to be mastering and achieving in life, right? So just all these different things.
And I think when you go through your journey, you'll realize you're going to run into a lot of people that you never thought you would click with and meet up with, that you can almost call for advice.
Absolutely.
So like I've got like 3-4 guys where there's times where I just get stuck, or I get like frustrated, or I'll get to a point where I'm too stressed out, and I might just have some problems in my life that I know I can call, and I can bounce these ideas off them that by the time I'm off that phone, I'll be a little bit more clear. So, and those people weren't in my life in the beginning of your journey, right?
Yeah.
Those came after. Like as you grow, people attract themselves to the type of person you are.
Yeah, there's a quote that I sent you as well before. It's like, you go through a time that you're lonely, and then you meet the people in your life that are going to be part of your new life.
Your new journey, yeah.
A new journey. And I think those people are starting to come in life, show up now, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. But it takes a lot of shedding of your skin, going by yourself, getting scraped and burnt a bit, right? Yeah. Losing some money, but it happens, right? So, I mean, that's where I'm at. So now, what does master your life mean to you?
Mastering your life is, in my opinion, is if I was to master my life, I would want to be organized, being disciplined, and really focus on time management. Mastering your life is about time. Mm-hmm. You only get a certain amount of hours in a day. You only get a certain amount of weeks in a year. You only get a certain amount of years in your life. So if you can really focus on what makes you happy, it doesn't always have to be about money and business. So whatever makes you happy, and you get to tick a lot of your boxes of life, I think you're mastering your life versus people that are just good on certain items of their life, but like it's a mess on the other. So like going through that unbalanced lifestyle. Absolutely. Like I think if you're very disciplined, you cut out the noise of life, and you have a good schedule, and you stick to your schedule, and you're disciplined, man, I think you're on the path to mastering your life.
That's beautiful. I like what you said there, master your time wisely, right? So that's beautiful. Nav, it's been beautiful today connecting with you, man. Yeah. And thank you for making time for me, bro. I really appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it.
You guys can reach out to Nav at Farmers in BC on Instagram, farmersinbc.com, or the FIB podcast. Yep. And you guys will get directed to all the different ways to connect with Nav. Probably not at networking events, but but in general, you guys can give them a call and go from there. Thanks, bro.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.